Ashamed and alone. My name is Ethan Reyes. I'm 27, I write code for a fintech startup, and I can explain almost anything with a flowchart. To my coworkers, I'm efficient, slightly reserved, the guy who brings leftovers from weekend meal preps and answers bug reports at 2 in the morning. To my mother, I'm the good son who's doing well for himself. To Olivia, my girlfriend of 2 years, I'm the steady one who remembers to pick up milk. And then there's the other part of me that slips out after midnight, when the city wind hushes and the apartment settles into the kind of quiet that makes secrets feel louder. It started small and secretive in the way of things that become addictions. An accidental brush with one of Olivia's scarves, a late-night curiosity that turned into deliberate searching through the closet when she wasn't home. I remember the first time I tucked a silky fabric against my skin and looked up at the mirror. Something calmed and also set my pulse racing. The man in the mirror didn't vanish, he softened. I had never expected relief to feel like that, like sinking into a shape I'd been carrying around wrong for years. Growing up in a cramped apartment with my parents, there wasn't much room for anything not useful. My father liked the TV loud and the weekend football louder. My mother had rules about how men should behave: stand tall, speak clearly, never fuss with feminine nonsense. I learned to mimic those rules like patches on a coat I wore to pass through the world. But inside, things got knotted. I'd try on my sister's hair ribbons when she was at school, hide the evidence in a shoebox, and tell myself I was playing. When I was 15 and a boy at school called me names for borrowing a scarf, something inside me folded away like a paper fortune card. Shame stamped itself into how I moved. So I kept most of it buried. College was safer, because being a little weird there didn't mean losing anything. But since Olivia and I moved in together 2 years ago, my life had folded in a way that made hiding harder in practical terms and easier in emotional ones. Olivia fills the apartment with her art books and vintage frames, with the warmth of someone who collects color like currency. She has a laugh that makes the room tilt. She loves a dramatic coat and can make a thrift store blouse look like runway couture. She thinks I admire her taste. She doesn't know how much I memorize the way fabric drapes on her shoulders or which shade of lipstick she keeps on the inner shelf. I love her. I love the utter, ordinary smallness of our morning routine, her slipping out for coffee, me tapping away at a Sprint issue, her messing my hair when she's sleepy. The idea that telling Olivia would break that easy rhythm terrifies me the way a plunge pool terrifies someone who still wants to swim. Will she be amused? Disappointed? Angry? Will the man she chose suddenly look alien to her? Those questions live like gravel in my throat. Our apartment is compact: 2 bedrooms, a narrow kitchen, a living room that doubles as my desk. The second bedroom is Olivia's workspace. She keeps fabric swatches stacked like postcards. I claimed the closet. But behind a loose floorboard beneath the bed, I keep a different kind of inventory: a cheap wig I ordered at midnight, a pair of heels with a strap that once cut my ankle raw, a makeup kit with more pencils than I can name, and a dress that I still haven't learned whether it belongs to me or to a version of me I'm too scared to claim aloud. I keep them there because shame prefers neat boxes. I keep them there because I need a place to go when the world requires me to be a kind of man I am only sometimes. When I cross that threshold, when I close the door, pull the floorboard up, and feel the plastic rustle of tissue paper, I get very small, and then very big all at once. The first breath after slipping into stockings is always the worst and the best. It's a tiny betrayal and a tiny liberation wrapped in the same inhale. Foundation changes the angles of my face. Lipstick redraws my mouth into a secret smile. The wig slides over my ears with the soft, ridiculous gravity of a new identity. For a little while, I am less ashamed. For a little while, I am whole. But the thrill comes with a price. Each time I do it, I carry the same 3 thoughts like stones. 1. What if Olivia comes home early? 2. What if she sees this and walks away? 3. What if I want to stay this way and can't tell her? The worst part is those thoughts are both honest and paralyzing. Honest because each of them could be true. Paralyzing because I prefer the temporary fix of fabric and mascara to the jagged risk of truth. Tonight is one of those nights. Olivia promised to join a client dinner. She'll be out until late, and texts me when she's heading home. I told myself tonight would be a small mercy. Time to practice. Time to learn how to walk without hunched shoulders. Time to match lip color without smearing. I told myself I would put everything back exactly as it was, that the morning would be ordinary again. Two people who love each other, and nothing else. The city sighs outside, a distant river of tires and talk. I slide the wig out of its tissue, run my fingers down the synthetic parting, and the hush in my chest loosens. For a moment the apartment is only me and possibility. Then my phone buzzes on the coffee table. A message from Olivia. Dinner's over earlier than expected. I might be home in 20 minutes. Don't wait up. Love you. My pulse stutters. 20 minutes. The room narrows into a corridor of suspense. 20 minutes to be who I want to be, and then 20 minutes to shove everything back into the box and become the boyfriend who leaves the sink unwashed and the dishes in the rack. The wig trembles in my hands. I tell myself it's only 20 minutes. But every time I tell myself that, it's never just 20 minutes. And the thing about secrets is they rarely keep the schedule you give them. The apartment was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the faint tick of the wall clock. Jake leaned against the counter, fingers drumming nervously as he stared at the closed bedroom door. Behind that door was a secret world, his world, that Olivia knew nothing about. He swallowed hard, fighting the voice inside that warned him to leave things alone. But another voice, quieter yet more insistent, urged him forward. Just one more time. One last time before she finds out. Before it all falls apart. He pushed the door open. Inside, the room looked nothing like their shared bedroom. It was more like a hidden sanctuary. Boxes lined the closet, neatly labeled in handwriting Olivia had never seen. Wigs, makeup, dresses, shoes. Each box was a piece of a self he couldn't reveal. Jake hesitated. His heart hammered as he reached for the first box, sliding it onto the bed. The cardboard scraped against the sheets, sounding louder than it should have in the empty apartment. He opened it. A pale pink dress lay folded on top, delicate as a secret itself. He brushed his fingers across the fabric, feeling the smoothness glide under his skin. That single touch unlocked something he both craved and feared, an aching relief in being able to be, and a suffocating dread of being caught. He sat on the edge of the bed, holding the dress against his chest, his reflection in the mirror across the room staring back at him. In that reflection, he saw both the man Olivia thought she knew and the other self he kept locked away. Why can't I just stop? He thought. Why can't I just be normal for her? Olivia loved him, he knew that. She wanted a future together, marriage, kids, stability. And yet, he was hiding a part of himself so large it could shatter everything. He imagined her face if she ever walked in now. The betrayal in her eyes. The anger. Or worse, the silence. Shame burned his cheeks as though he were already caught. And still he couldn't stop. His hands shook as he undressed, folding his t-shirt and jeans into a pile. Standing in his boxers, he felt vulnerable, as if stripping away not just his clothes, but the fragile mask he wore for the world. From another box, he pulled out a set of silky stockings. They clung to his fingers as he rolled them up his legs, the sensation electric. A shiver ran through him as he stood, smoothing the material against his thighs. Next came the dress. He stepped into it, pulling the fabric over his shoulders, adjusting the straps until it clung just right. It wasn't just clothing, it was armor, a disguise, and a release all at once. He moved to the mirror again. The man was fading, piece by piece. At the vanity table, another hidden indulgence, he uncapped a lipstick, twisting until the soft red tip emerged. His hand hovered, trembling, before pressing the color to his lips. A streak of red bloomed against his pale skin. With each stroke, his pulse quickened. Mascara. Foundation. A wig of chestnut curls. By the time he leaned back, he didn't just see Jake anymore. He saw her, an echo of the person he longed to bring into the world, but was terrified to unleash. The apartment was too quiet. Every creak of the building seemed amplified. He kept glancing at the door, half expecting the handle to turn. What if Olivia forgot something at work and came back early? What if a neighbor knocked, asking for sugar or to borrow a tool? What if someone saw him through the thin curtains? The thrill and terror twisted together inside him. Each step he took in the heels made his chest tighten with exhilaration. He sat again on the bed, running his hands over the dress, trying to steady his breathing. The weight of the secret pressed down heavier than ever. And then, a sound. The jingle of keys in the hallway. Jake froze. His heart stopped, then raced so fast he thought he might collapse. His reflection stared back in horror, a stranger caught red-handed. The door handle rattled. Olivia? The jingle of keys echoed like a death knell. Jake's body stiffened, muscles screaming with tension. His lipstick-slicked lips parted, breath shallow as his heart pounded so violently he thought Olivia might hear it through the door. The rattling stopped. Silence. He stood frozen in front of the mirror, chestnut wig framing his face, stockings hugging his legs, the pink dress like a neon confession under the dim bedroom light. Another sound. Not the door opening, but keys dropping. A muffled curse drifted from the hallway. Not Olivia. A neighbor. Relief crashed over him so hard his knees buckled, and he sank onto the bed, head in his hands. His pulse thundered as sweat dampened the wig's hairline. For a moment, he just sat there, trembling with the release of tension. But relief was short-lived. The scare had made something brutally clear. This couldn't last forever. One day it wouldn't be a neighbor fumbling with their keys. It would be Olivia, stepping through that door, catching him like this. And then what? Would she scream? Leave? Expose him to her family, their friends? The shame in his chest twisted tighter. Yet when he looked back into the mirror, he couldn't bring himself to strip it all away. Because despite the fear, he also saw something else in his reflection, something he longed for. Freedom. Jake stood and paced the room, heels clacking softly against the hardwood. The sound was intoxicating, yet it made him hyper-aware of his fragility. He was balancing between two lives, each threatening to destroy the other. Who am I? He thought. The man Olivia loves? Or the woman I see in this mirror? The conflict tore at him. His mind shouted stop, but his body moved differently. His hand traced the curve of his waist, adjusting the dress to fit better. He reapplied the lipstick, darker this time, more daring. He whispered aloud, almost testing the words. I'm beautiful. The sound startled him. His own voice, softened with caution, sounded alien. But there was truth in it, a dangerous truth. He moved to the living room, careful to draw the curtains tight. The thrill of walking across the apartment dressed this way made him feel both alive and on the verge of collapse. Each surface he touched, each step he took in the heels felt amplified, as if the universe itself were paying attention. He twirled once, the hem of the pink dress fanning out. A shaky laugh escaped his throat. In this moment, he wasn't Jake, the dutiful boyfriend. He was someone else entirely, someone bolder, freer. But then came another sound. This time, the unmistakable ping of a phone. His phone, lying on the counter, lighting up with Olivia's name. His stomach dropped. He lunged for it, nearly tripping on the hem of the dress. He snatched the phone, staring at the message on the screen. Olivia, on my way home. Be there in 20 minutes. 20 minutes to erase all traces of this other self, to become Jake again, to shove it all back into boxes like it never existed. He rushed to the bedroom, yanking open drawers, fumbling with the zipper of the dress. The zipper stuck halfway, refusing to budge. His fingers clawed at it, panic tightening his throat. Come on, he hissed, tugging harder. The wig slid sideways, strands of chestnut hair sticking to his damp forehead. His reflection in the mirror was chaos, lipstick smeared, eyes wide, dress half off, stockings clinging stubbornly to his legs. This is how she'll find me, the thought struck, brutal in its clarity. Not as the man she loves, but as this disaster of a secret. Tears burned at the corners of his eyes. Finally, with a desperate tug, the zipper gave way. He ripped the dress off, flinging it onto the bed. The wig followed, landing askew on the floor. His chest heaved as he tore the stockings down, skin reddened from the rush. He stuffed everything back into the boxes with shaking hands, shoving them into the closet, slamming the door shut just as another ping vibrated the phone. Olivia. Actually, traffic's worse than I thought. Might take 40. Miss you. Jake slid to the floor, back against the closet, chest rising and falling in ragged breaths. The message should have brought relief, more time, safety. Instead, it broke him. Because in those frantic minutes, he had seen just how fragile his double life was. How close he had come to destruction. And worse, how much he hated shoving it all away. He touched his lips, still faintly stained with lipstick despite his hurried attempt to wipe it off. That smear was like a ghost, whispering the truth he couldn't deny. He wanted this. But wanting it meant risking Olivia. The logical thing would have been to shower, scrub away every trace, and greet Olivia like nothing had happened. That was what Jake had always done before. Bury the evidence, bury himself. But something inside him rebelled this time. He stood, staring at the closet. His hands hovered over the handle. Just one more look, he told himself. One more glimpse before she comes home. The words were poison, and he knew it. But his body moved anyway, sliding the closet open. His fingers brushed against the pink dress again. And just as he touched it, the sound of the front door unlocking shattered the air. The sound of the lock turning was deafening. Jake froze, hand still gripping the silky fabric of the pink dress. His body felt like it had turned to stone, the world narrowing to the single sound of the door swinging open. Jake. Olivia's voice drifted in, casual, unsuspecting. The closet door was half open, the dress still dangling from his fingers. His reflection in the mirror across the room betrayed him. Hair mussed, lips faintly tinted pink, chest rising and falling too fast. Panic seized him. He yanked his hand back, shoving the dress deep into the shadows of the closet, and slammed the door shut just as Olivia's footsteps padded down the hallway. "Hey, babe," she called, her tone light but closer now. Jake's mind raced. He needed an excuse, something, anything. He darted to the bed, flung himself onto it, and grabbed his phone, pretending he'd just been scrolling. His chest still hammered like a drum. Olivia appeared in the doorway, dropping her purse onto the dresser. She smiled, tired but warm, her eyes lighting up at the sight of him. "There you are." Jake forced a smile, praying it didn't look strained. "Hey. Thought you'd be later." She laughed, brushing hair from her face. "Traffic wasn't as bad as I thought." Her gaze lingered on him for a moment, studying his flushed cheeks, the sheen of sweat still clinging to his skin. Jake's stomach twisted. "You okay? You look tense." "I'm fine," he said too quickly. Olivia crossed the room, leaning down to kiss him. Her lips brushed his, soft, familiar. But the kiss carried danger. His heart leapt into his throat. Would she taste it? The faint trace of lipstick? She pulled back slightly, her brow furrowing. Jake's stomach dropped. "Did you?" She squinted at his lips. "Are you wearing something?" Ice filled his veins. He scrambled for words, laughter spilling from him too loud, too fake. "What? No. Just chapstick." My lips were dry. Olivia tilted her head, suspicion flickering in her eyes. She let it go, at least for now, and moved to the dresser, pulling out her pajamas. Jake exhaled silently, shoulders sagging with relief. That had been too close. Olivia chattered lightly about her day as she changed, her voice background noise to the roar of Jake's inner panic. He couldn't stop glancing at the closet. The boxes, the wig, the dress, they were all in there. If she decided to put something away, if she opened that door. "Hey," she said suddenly, snapping him back to attention. "Do you know where my hoodie is? The gray one." His blood went cold. No? Did you check the laundry?" She frowned. "Maybe it's in here." And she turned toward the closet. "No." The word burst from him too loud, too sharp. Olivia froze, blinking at him in surprise. Jake's pulse slammed in his ears. He scrambled for an explanation. I mean, I'll check for you later. You should relax. You've had a long day." Olivia studied him, suspicion deepening. Her eyes narrowed slightly, searching his face for cracks. Jake, what's going on? The question hit harder than he expected. Not just what's going on right now, but everything. All the lies, all the hiding, all the shame. He forced a smile, shaking his head. Nothing. Really. I'm just tired. But Olivia didn't look convinced. She sat on the edge of the bed, eyes still fixed on him. You're acting weird. You've been distant lately. And now you're sweating, jumping when I walk in, hiding something in that closet. Her words cut off. The air between them thickened. Jake's throat felt tight. He couldn't tell her.
Not now.
Not ever. But he also couldn't stop shaking. Olivia reached for his hand, her touch gentle but probing. Jake, talk to me. What's wrong? He tried to pull back, but she held firm. The closeness, the sincerity in her eyes. It broke something inside him. Tears pricked at the corners of his vision unbidden. His voice cracked. I can't. Olivia's expression softened. Can't what? I can't tell you. You'll hate me. She squeezed his hand, her brows knitting.
Hey, don't say that.
I love you. Whatever it is, we can... A loud thud interrupted her. Both their heads whipped toward the closet. The sound echoed, unmistakable. Something had shifted inside. The wig box, maybe, or the heels slipping from where he'd shoved them. Olivia's eyes widened. Slowly, she stood, gaze locked on the closet door. Jake, she whispered, voice edged with suspicion. What's in there? Jake's body went cold. His mind screamed for escape, but there was nowhere to run. His secret, the one he had buried for years, was seconds from being exposed. He jumped up, blocking the closet door with his body. It's nothing. Just old stuff. Junk. Olivia crossed her arms, frowning. Then let me see. No. The word tore out of him before he could stop it. His voice was desperate, almost pleading. Olivia's frown deepened into something darker, hurt. Why not? What are you hiding from me? Her words twisted like knives. She sounded less suspicious now, and more wounded. And that was worse, because she deserved honesty. But the truth might destroy everything. Silence hung heavy in the room, broken only by their ragged breaths. Olivia's eyes shimmered with a mix of confusion and fear. Jake could feel his resolve slipping. The boxes behind him felt like live explosives, each second ticking closer to detonation. Finally, Olivia spoke, her voice quiet but cutting. Jake, if you don't tell me, I'll open it myself. She took a step closer. Jake's breath caught. He could stop her, physically block her, but what would that prove? The tension in his chest was unbearable. He knew the moment was coming. The secret couldn't stay buried forever. But the question that clawed at him was simple, brutal. Would Olivia still love him after she saw the truth? The silence was unbearable. Olivia's hand hovered over the closet door, her eyes locked on Jake. His chest rose and fell too fast, the room shrinking until all that existed was the space between them. Move, she said softly, but there was no mistaking the steel in her tone. Jake shook his head, panic bleeding into his voice. Please, Olivia.
Don't.
Then tell me what's in there. He opened his mouth, but no words came. His throat tightened, tears stinging his eyes. He wanted to confess, to rip the bandage off, to finally be free, but the weight of shame was suffocating. The fear of her rejection loomed larger than anything. Olivia's face twisted, hurt, confused, scared. Why won't you trust me? Her words cut deeper than any blade. Before Jake could answer, the closet betrayed him. With a soft creak, the door shifted open, just enough to reveal a sliver of what lay inside, the corner of the pink dress, shimmering faintly in the dim light. Olivia's breath caught. She pushed past him before he could stop her, yanking the door wide. And there it was, everything. The wig box on the floor. A pair of heels, tipped over. Makeup scattered on the shelf. And the dress, dangling like a ghost from its hanger, its fabric gleaming with undeniable truth. Olivia's eyes widened, her lips parting in shock. Jake's heart shattered. No, Olivia, please, it's not. But the words felt empty, useless. There was no way to explain, no way to undo what she had just seen. Olivia turned to him slowly, her expression unreadable, shock, hurt, disbelief all swirling together. Her silence was worse than anger. Finally, she spoke, her voice trembling. You've been hiding this from me? All this time? Jake's throat closed. He tried to nod, to speak, to apologize, but nothing came out. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes, her voice breaking. Who are you, Jake? His legs gave way, and he sank to the floor, burying his face in his hands. I'm sorry, he whispered, over and over. Olivia stood frozen, staring at the dress, then at him. Her hands shook as she pressed them to her mouth, like she couldn't breathe. The silence between them stretched into eternity. Finally, she stepped back toward the door. I need to think, she said, her voice raw. I can't even look at you right now. And with that, she turned and walked out, the door slamming shut behind her. Jake stayed on the floor, trembling, surrounded by the evidence of his hidden self. The dress seemed to mock him, swaying gently as though moved by a phantom breeze. He dragged himself to the mirror, staring at the broken reflection of a man half-painted in lipstick, eyes red from tears. A man who wanted so badly to be free, but was now more trapped than ever. For the first time, he whispered the thought out loud, voice shaking. Maybe this is who I really am. But the words terrified him. Then, just as despair threatened to swallow him whole, there was a knock at the door. Not the front door. The bedroom door. Jake froze, his breath catching. He hadn't heard Olivia come back in. The knock was too soft, too deliberate, like someone testing, waiting. Slowly, trembling, he turned toward it. Jake. It was Olivia's voice. But something in the way she said his name sent a chill down his spine. Not anger. Not confusion. Something else. Something he couldn't read. He stood there, heart pounding, staring at the door. If he opened it, would she be gone forever? Would she scream, cry, demand answers? Or would she walk back in and force him to face everything at once? The silence stretched, unbearable. Her voice came again, softer this time, but more haunting. Let me in. Jake's hand shook as he reached for the doorknob. And that's where the story ended.